They called him Caligula, the little soldier's boot. Raised amidst the thunder of marching legions and the clash of steel, he was the cherished mascot of his father's armies. Dressed in his own miniature uniform, the boy was a symbol of hope, a living promise of Rome's future glory. He was Gaius, son of the celebrated general Germanicus, a hero of the Roman people, born into the heart of the Julio-Claudian dynasty. Gaius was heir to immense privilege and power, destined to walk the corridors of history. But the gilded path of his youth was about to take a dark and treacherous turn. Following the death of Emperor Augustus, his great-uncle Tiberius ascended to the throne. The change in leadership cast a long and menacing shadow over young Gaius's life. The political landscape of Rome was shifting, and the favor once enjoyed by his family began to wane under the suspicious gaze of the new emperor. Then tragedy struck with the force of a thunderbolt. Germanicus, his beloved father, died suddenly and mysteriously while on campaign in the east. Whispers of poison filled the air, with many pointing fingers towards the imperial palace. The family's downfall was swift and brutal. His mother, Agrippina the elder, and his older brothers were declared enemies of the state. One by one they were arrested, exiled, or worse. Gaius watched, helpless, as his family was systematically destroyed, leaving him practically orphaned and alone in a world of cutthroat politics. Summoned by the very man who likely orchestrated his family's ruin, Gaius was taken to the island of Capri, a lavish prison disguised as a palace. Here, under the watchful eye of the aging and paranoid Tiberius, he spent his formative years. He learned to survive in a viper's nest, mastering the art of dissimulation. He hid his true thoughts and feelings behind a mask of unwavering obedience, carefully navigating the dangerous currents of the imperial court. He observed, he learned, and he waited, his youthful innocence hardening into a core of cynical resolve. The boy who was once a celebrated mascot had become a political hostage, learning lessons in cruelty and power that would one day define him. Then, in 37 AD, Tiberius died. At the age of just 25, Gaius, now known to history as Caligula, ascended to the throne of the Roman Empire. The news was met with an explosion of joy. Rome rejoiced, seeing the young son of the beloved Germanicus as a savior, a breath of fresh air after the gloomy and repressive reign of Tiberius. A new golden age seemed to be dawning. In the first months of his rule, Caligula lived up to every expectation. He was generous and charismatic, a true man of the people. He granted bonuses to the military, securing their loyalty. He recalled exiles, pardoned political prisoners, and abolished the hated treason trials of Tiberius. He staged lavish games and spectacles, delighting the populace and earning their adoration. The city celebrated its new leader, believing that the bright promise of his childhood had finally come to fruition. Behind the public celebrations, however, a different world was taking shape within the palace walls. Caligula's court became a theater of unparalleled luxury and indulgence. Grand banquets that lasted for days, filled with exotic foods and endless wine, became the norm. The air was thick with music, laughter, and the scent of expensive perfume. Tales of his scandalous affairs, both real and exaggerated, circulated through Rome. He took the wives of senators as his lovers, not just for pleasure, but as a public display of his absolute authority over them. Every indulgence was a calculated demonstration of power. He turned the palace into a stage where pleasure and politics intertwined, leaving the aristocracy both fascinated and terrified. They admired his audacity while dreading his unpredictable whims. He was the sun at the center of their universe, and they, like moths, were drawn dangerously close to his flame. Then, just a few months into his reign, a severe illness brought Caligula to the brink of death. The entire empire held its breath, praying for the recovery of their young emperor. When he finally emerged from the fever, he was changed. The affable and generous ruler was gone, replaced by someone darker, more erratic, and frighteningly unpredictable. Whether the illness had caused brain damage or simply unleashed the demons lurking beneath his carefully constructed persona, we will never know. But the Caligula who recovered was a different man, and Rome was about to witness a reign of terror unlike any it had ever seen. The stories that followed became the stuff of legend, tales of cruelty, shocking behavior, and opulent excess defined the rest of his rule. He was said to have ordered public executions at a whim, forcing fathers to watch their sons die. He staged bizarre and extravagant games, squandering the treasury on floating palaces and pointless military campaigns, like his infamous order for his soldiers to collect seashells as spoils of war from the sea. His paranoia, likely born from the trauma of his childhood, grew into a monstrous obsession. He saw conspiracies everywhere and trusted no one. He declared himself a living god, demanding that senators worship him, and even planned to make his favorite horse, Incitatus, a consul. The haunted child who had survived exile and fear now commanded an empire with absolute unchecked power. In Caligula, genius and madness walked hand in hand, and Rome trembled. From decadent pleasures to violent displays of absolute authority, Caligula's rule became a spectacle of audacity. The Senate was humiliated, the treasury was drained, and the people who had once cheered for him now lived in fear. But such a reign could not last. The same fear he inspired in others began to breed resentment and conspiracy. The very men tasked with his protection, the Praetorian Guard, grew tired of his insults and unpredictable tyranny. In January of 41 AD, after less than 4 years on the throne, Caligula was ambushed and assassinated by his own guards in a palace corridor. His wife and daughter were murdered alongside him, brutally ending his line. From a cherished child mascot to a feared and hated tyrant, the story of Caligula is a chilling study in how absolute power can corrupt absolutely. His reign, though brief, remains one of the most infamous and debated chapters in the annals of history, a stark warning of the monster that can be created when a damaged soul is given control of the world. Thank you for watching. If you found this journey into Rome's dark past interesting, please like this video and subscribe for more stories from history.